African Enterprise, AE, is an indigenous, interdenominational, multicultural Christian mission ministry committed to evangelizing the cities of Africa through word and deed in partnership with the local church. Founded by Michael Cassidy, a South African-born evangelist, teacher, preacher, and author. Since its inception, the organization has expanded to other countries of the continent. Africa Enterprise works in partnership with the church to reach Africa's cities with the gospel. The organization's goal is to see vibrant, healthy churches in Africa's cities that are making a difference in the lives of people.
Decision cards have been loaded, the hard copies are corrected. But how do we give them back to the churches for effective follow-up and discipleship? That is what we call the referral system. So with the referral system, what we do, we ask that all the decision cards should be brought to the mission center. That is the operational center that you have come to meet us. And so what we do is that we divide the decision cards into two categories. One, card with church affiliation, and card without church affiliation. Affiliation in the sense that somebody will tell you, yeah, I go to this church, or I used to go to this church. We actually encourage the missionaries to find out whether the person belongs to a church, so that they will put the church name there. Now the reason is that we are trying to avoid a situation where at the end of the mission, somebody will come and say, you came to do a mission, but at the end of the day, this pastor has come to take away my members. We want to avoid that, so that we don't create any conflict. We are for peace. We encourage unity. That is what we are for. And so you sort them and you group them according to without church and then with church. Our priority is actually with those without church. It's like a mother giving birth and then the mother is no more. You really have to take good care of that baby. I mean, sometimes the babies with their mothers on their side, the mother can manage, even if there is any complications, the mother can manage until our brother Dr. Uwa comes in. But those without church, they are the ones that we focus on before we come to those with church. And so those without church, we use the church list, which is now sorted according to location. The reason being that all those whose names are here, we take it to mean that they are participating in the mission. It doesn't always follow that way, but in most cases you have maybe 70 or 72% of them participating in the mission. And so you are not looking at the name of the church, but you are looking at the location because of proximity. This person says, I live at North Maid. This is North Maid. But my physical location is near maybe the water tank. Now you go to the church list sorted according to location. You are looking for North Maid, but then you're also looking for the landmark. And the landmark, you may have a church A that has a landmark, the filling station, gas filling station. There is a church B landmark near water tank. So definitely this card, if you are to give to any of these two churches, I will prefer giving to church B, because church B is located near the water tank and this person lives near the water tank. So in a way, it makes follow-up very simple for this person to follow. So that is how we do it. But of course, we also consider the fact that churches have been working together. So it's possible for you to have near the polytank, all of the cars near the polytime. We will end up giving the cards to one church who is participating, and the others might be offended. So we try as much as possible to at least portion a bit of it to the other churches, hoping that they will all be involved in the follow-up. So that is what we do with people without church affiliation. And then we take the last one, which is with church affiliation. We did not introduce that one here for some reasons, but normally we would divide it into two, the church affiliation. Now we are going to divide into Bible-believing church or evangelical churches or whatever. Keep it to yourself. But we divide it into Bible-believing and non-Bible believing. That is what we try to do.
That's good.
So the question is, which one is Bible believing and which one is not? That we always leave it for the national leaders or the city leaders, church fathers, to decide. African Enterprise, we don't decide for them. Again, we don't want to create any conflict, because you go to a city and they put many churches together as Bible believing. We are not charting any path to divide the church. So we leave it for them to decide. Of course, we did not introduce it in Lusaka. Otherwise, if it is non-Bible believing, with a non-Bible believing, now what we do is that still you cannot assign them to a church saying that go and take them. But we try to create what we call community Bible study group. These are people who belong to their churches, and you all know that they are so much attached to their denomination, so much that if you tell them to move from this because it's not Bible believing to this which is Bible believing, you are creating a conflict. So we don't do that, but we encourage them to attend a community-based Bible study. And as we take them through the Bible study, that is if the leaders are prepared to do that. We believe that their eyes will be opened, that the Holy Spirit will bring illumination, and then they will decide one day to say, maybe I need to move from here to this church. That is what we do with the non-Bible believing. Now with the Bible believing, we again divide it into two. It's a long thing, but it's easier to do. Now we divide it now into participating church and non-participating church. For example, we have the list. We know that this is a Presbyterian card. This is a Methodist card. Now, Methodist is participating in the mission. The Presbyterians are not participating in the mission. Now, the question is, what do we do with those who are not participating and yet we know them? Should we take the cards because they did not come to work? I always refer the leaders to what happened when David, Ziklag, we know the story. And then they went to war. God led them to get back whatever was taken away from them. Now, when they came back, some people were saying that we don't have to give them anything. They did not go to war. Why should we give them? But then David spoke and said, no, we don't have to do that. They are our colleagues. Yes. Let's share with them. So I always challenge the leaders. Do you want to keep the Presbyterian card because they did not come to work? But we say, don't do that. Pack them. Envelop them. Select your best leaders, maybe 2 or 3 of the bishops. Let them take it and go to meet the Presbyterian bishop and say, we work together as a Christian body. This is the result. These people prefer, some belong to your church. Others are saying they want to come to your church. We want to give them to you, but we encourage you to do the follow-up. And then they invite him to say, every month, maybe every 2 weeks, we have pastors' fellowship. Would you want to be part of us? I think this person will sit and say, these are good people we should work with. Maybe he will consider coming to join. But of course, and I have experienced it before, some of them you will give it to them. I'm not saying Presbyterian church, I'm talking about some of the churches. You give it to them in the spirit of brotherly love, and then they will say, yes, so what do I do with it? And then you say, but follow up. And he said, but who said I have time for this? I have heard it before. Somebody was given a church, and then he's called me and said, but the cars you brought, only 2 of them come to my local congregation. And I said, yes, but they belong to your denomination. And he said, but, well, I don't think I can get time to follow up on it. Yeah, that is it. And so then the others, of course, they are participating churches. So now you begin to give the code. The code is the code we have generated for the participating churches. And so on this list, each church has a unique code. So we put the code on the card. And as we put the code, at the end of the day, we now begin to envelope them. Because so we pick all the codes and group them according to the code. For instance, this is LM 101. That is Lusaka Mission 101. So this 101 is a church code. And so when I go to 101, I can mention the church. And this church is called Grace and Truth Church. Thank God, this I did not plan. But it came, Grace and Truth. I think it's a good name. So Grace and Truth Church, and I know where it is situated. I know the pastor's name. I have the pastor's telephone number. Remember we said before we start the mission, they register. So now we will pack all the 101. I don't know how many cars they will get, but if they get 100 plus, we put all of them in an envelope. So you have the envelope. Can I get one? And then you put the code at the top of the envelope, so that when we are done, we will now pick this envelope, go to the list, and then write the name of the church, the pastor, and the telephone number. And then we would add a letter from this office, which Dr. Lubesi will sign and say, we have done the letter already. He will look to the letter. If it's okay, he will sign. And the letter will say, yes, by the grace of God, this is what the Lord has helped us to do. We want to give this to you. We encourage you to do the follow-up. And if you're able to do the follow-up, please let us know how many of them are coming to church. There is a clause that we need his approval before. But otherwise, we will say, if you inform us, we will visit your church with a follow-up material. I want to be careful this time whether they do have the follow-up material. So I have not accepted. It's there though, but we are waiting for approval. If they have the follow-up material, we say, yes, we don't want to tell them any lie. Then we would envelope and give to the leaders and say, this pastor must have it. So this is the way we walk through the process. But the last stage of it is that when they...
So those are actual cards.
These are actual ones going. These are ready to go.
And the other ones?
They are all ready to go. The ones over there are all ready. Yes. Okay, they are all ready to go. So what we finally do, because when you send the cards to the people, that is it. You can't get it back. And so for us to be able to monitor these codes that are given, it will come back to our system. And now we call it filing. You file the number on the system so that I know that this new believer was actually assigned or referred to this church. So from here, the ones that we have enveloped, we know those that we have actually referred to this church, because their codes are now registered against the individuals that were referred to this church. So that when, after 2 weeks, when we call, that is the follow-up team, you want to call the pastors and say, Pastor, we gave you 50 cards. Tell us, how many of them have you been able to follow up? Well, I know my colleagues, some of them will give you wonderful stories. Yeah, in fact, we really cherish this, but when we receive them, we have just lost a wonderful member of our church, and so we put it aside and we did the funeral. But immediately after the funeral, somebody came and wanted to travel, so we did some service, and then one person came and wanted to marry, we did all that. But honestly, I promise you, we will do the follow-up. Okay? So the 10th week, you have to do another follow-up call. If you are getting stories, anyway, this is where sometimes some of us become a bit tough, but then you want to tell him, Pastor or Bishop, please, these cards that you're holding, they are somebody's spiritual birth certificate. That is what I normally say. So please, treat it with all the agency that it requires. But when you find out that this pastor is not actually doing it, because we have the names in our system already, the cards are gone. But you can print the names. You can sort it according to the code and have all the believers or the new believers who were sent to this particular church 101. You can print it, give it to another church that is actually working, and say, please take this list. Their names are there, their telephone numbers are there, the physical address is there, full up. They will not have card, but now they have a list that they can do the full up. This is what we are trying to do, trusting that it's hard work. I must confess, it's hard work, and these young men and women helping us know it's hard work. I had wanted to lock the door, keep them in. They have done it to me before. We work from 8 p.m. We finished the following day 6:15, and then we were given a short break to go and have a cup of tea and come back to finish it. So if you introduce it, people will say, hey, this man is going crazy. Some of us, that is the way we work. So I don't want to disturb them, so I have not asked them to do that one. But maybe before we finish on Saturday, if they don't finish it, we lock the door, instead they finish it before we go. If indeed we want, as organization, we want to focus on discipleship, and like I said, my chairman's heartbeat, if that is what we are actually pushing for, then it calls for hard work. And this is where, when I came, I was saying that, can we get people to support us? We should have had about 5, 6, 7 laptops working with them, but we don't. So now that you are listening to us, if you want to support in any way, please think of donating some laptops. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Wow. So, we've heard from the man behind the system with his team, and we really do treasure you, Ben, and the team that is right at the back. And we know this is a daily affair. As some are winning souls, they are around those who sit back to ensure all those records are well taken and accounted for, so that we can really account for every soul. So as he holds the envelope, and as you see them lying all the way there down, my heart beats with excitement, because like you put it, Ben, those are birth certificates, spiritual, for somebody. So thank you. We will not keep you any much longer, but okay. Before Michael says a word, I just want to introduce, to make mention of some more people. Mama Carol, if I could hold your bag, I think there is something I'm looking for. Okay. So in every bag, we've been putting in what we are calling the pocket PTL, Pocket Testament League New Testament, or rather the Gospel according to John, and which I want to make mention of my friend Christian right there. He's from the PTL. We got to know them through your friend Graham Power from South Africa. They are a ministry. They got to learn about our missions, and we worked with them in Kenya, bringing Bible Society and other ministries together. And we used them for the Kenya mission. When he heard we are coming to Lusaka, he offered himself, which is exciting to say, he will help us again with his team to publish 300,000 of these.
Michael Cassidy felt the Lord leading him to city evangelism in Africa in 1957. He earned a Bachelor of Divinity in 1963 at Fuller Theological Seminary in Pasadena, California, after concluding his studies at Cambridge. Michael founded the African Enterprise AE Ministry in 1961, while still a student at Fuller Seminary, with the help of Charles Fuller, the founder of Fuller Seminary, and a few other student friends. In 1964, he went to South Africa with a small team to devote his full time to following out AE's vocation to evangelize the African cities. The next year, in Pietermaritzburg, South Africa, the first citywide mission was held. But in order for AE to reach the 31 cities Michael had visited and beyond, geographically geographical and cultural boundaries had to be overcome. The need for more teams became clear very quickly. Other teams were formed as chances and funding became available.
I greet you all in the name of the Lord. And I just wanted to say, Ben and Brian, but it's to all of you, what I've heard this afternoon is, I think, the best follow-up scheme I've ever heard of anywhere in the world. And the second thing I wanted to say, impress on you, is that when I see this kind of thing and I hear this kind of story, the Spirit says in my heart, Africa is going to lead the world in world evangelization. This is the continent from which it will come. Others will be great. China, Latin America are many promising things. But from Africa, the drive into the rest of the world is going to come, and the energy is here. The power of the Spirit is here. Amen. I'm so impressed. I'm going to tell people around the world how impressed I am. And I just want to say I love Zambia. Amen. When Carol had said to me before, I don't think there's any more travel for you, I said, you got this wrong, darling. There's Zambia! I've got to go there. And I want to be in Lausanne in 2024 in South Korea. I said to the Lord, look, we have a lot of time, Lord, in heaven. We'll have a lot of fun. We'll do a lot of things. We can evangelize some other planets and that. But while I'm on planet Earth, I want to work for Christ, lead souls to Him, and I want to look after one of the best wives in the world. So I want to live a long time. A couple of weeks' time, I enter my 87th year. So you can pray for me for the next 12 or 15 years. I can keep going strong. And I love Zambia. I knew President Kaunda quite well. He entertained me many times at State House. And so from that time on, and also he encouraged me because I used to come and see the ANC exiles who were here. You know, ANC and others, they couldn't get into South Africa, but I believe it's important for us to understand what they were saying, what they were doing. And President Kaunda used to help, you know, encourage me to do that. And I'd meet Thabo and Becky and all of these, some of these, you know, people there who went back into the cabinet from South Africa. And I used to take messages from them to our government. And I took messages from President Kaunda, and I said to top people in our government, this is what Kaunda says, you better listen. See? So all I'm saying is I love this place. It's a fantastic country. And since I was last year, I don't know, quite a long time ago, 20 years maybe, I see the whole economy is lifted. You may not feel it yourself, but when you haven't seen it for a long time, the roads, the sense of education, economic, you know, how people, what people are doing and all of that, it's very fantastic. So Carolyn, I thank you for this. I thank you for the cap. Thank you for the little packet. And I thank you for the T-shirt. You know, I saw it was extra large.
Enlarged ministry.
One time when I was doing a leadership fundraising dinner in Harare for our team there, and we had we had a man on our board, some of you might remember, called Harry Conway. Yeah. He had the gift of laughter. He was the only person I ever knew who could make a financial statement and keep everybody in hysterics of laughter. It was unbelievable. Anyway, Harry was a big man, so we had this dinner with everybody there. And here's Harry, big Harry, like a boxer or wrestler. So I told him a story. I said, you know, Harry Mkombe was in the States. And when he was in the States, he saw a scale that you can stand on, you know, to get your weight. And it was a talking scale. So you stand on the scale, and it says 150 pounds, or it says 180 pounds. I'd say 190 pounds. I'd say 200 pounds. I'd say 70 pounds. You don't know what the scale will say, but it'll give you your weight. So I told all these people in Harare about Harry. I said, Harry stepped on the scale, and the scale said, 1 at a time, please. So maybe my new shirts will be 1 at a time. But thank you all. Oh, we love you.
Today, Africa Enterprise, now with almost 600 employees and numerous volunteers, representing 10 national teams, a mission team, a reconciliation department, a leadership training department, and support offices in 10 countries around the world. While AE works throughout the African continent, AE has resident teams in the following countries: Congo, Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, Malawi, Rwanda, South Africa, Tanzania, Uganda, Zimbabwe, and now Zambia.